What's up, guys, and welcome to this. This is your SOS Wrestletalk Pro Wrestling Noah's Monday Magic Prime Time Season 2 Episode 2 review. This took place this morning on the 2nd of June 2025 from Shinjuku Face. Monday Magic is once every 2 weeks on Wrestle Universe for 4 weeks. They have a show live from Shinjuku. Again, this is available on Wrestle Universe. Now, it's been a while since I've checked out some Noah. In full transparency, I used to back in the day do the Noah, All Japan, Dragon Gate, and New Japan, and covered it all. It was absolutely insane. What an insane schedule me and Dion used to do. But I'm slowly getting back into it. I've got Wrestle Universe back, and I thought this is a good show. And there's a big Noah Korakuen Hall show tomorrow, so I thought this is perfect. This gives me the prime opportunity to jump back into some Noah. Last week's, or 2 weeks ago, sorry, Monday Magic Primetime did record numbers on Wrestle Universe, the most watched Monday Magic. So they've got some momentum going, and there was a big announcement on here from. We had our boy Rungai come out and make a really big announcement, which I'll get to in a moment. So beforehand, I would just like to also stress, as you guys know, I try to watch as much as possible, so I don't watch absolutely everything. So there was 3 matches on this show I did not watch. So the ones I didn't watch was Junta Mayaki defeated Hayata and Kai Fujimura in a triple threat match, and a tag match with Akira and Danny Duggan defeating Daiki Odashima and Masa Kitamiya. And then in a 6-man tag, we had Archie Cole, Dragon Bane, and Titus Alexander defeating Alpha Wolf, Robert Martyr, and Saxon Huxley in 15 minutes in length. So those were the results for the 4 of you that cared. So I jumped in about in the 45-minute mark on Wrestle Universe. So Nasao Rongai comes out, gets a phenomenal reaction. He shows everyone to the Titantron, where they announce Wrestle Magic, and they did it in a way so that made it look like that the legendary Maybach Taniguchi is the one who is the big reveal. Crowd boo, and then they do the video again, and it shows Noah. They did it as a revealing card. It was actually really slickly done, and I must say, Wrestle Universe as a streaming service is incredible. UK money, it's £6 a month, about the same price as the basic end of Netflix, the basic end of Disney, basic end of Paramount, where there's ads included. But you get Noah, DDT, so much Tokyo Joshi Pro, and there's so much women's stuff, Marigold. There's literally stuff on there all the time to watch. And that's one thing I might do with Wrestle Universe. I might start doing all the Korakuen Hall shows, start doing the big shows and covering them for Noah, for DDT, and I can do them in a way where I don't have to sit there and physically watch, because that was the problem. The idea of sitting there and going, like, especially after work, whatever, being like, oh, you've now got 3 hours of Japanese wrestling to watch. And I love Japanese wrestling, to get me wrong, but I don't want to do that every day. But if you told me, right, you have half an hour of it to watch, you got an hour of it to watch, an hour and a half, depending on how big the event is, then it becomes a lot more feasible. Anyway, before I go off on tangents, I do apologise if this is your first time listening. That is what I do. And they did these cards that are revealing on the screen, in a really good production of it. And the first card flipped was a Pro Wrestling Noah card. Again, this is what's taking place on June 30th. It's called Wrestle Magic. Full coverage will be available on the channel. And then it flicks again, and it's a DDT card. Flicks again, and the next card is a Dragon Gate card. And then the 4th flip was a New Japan card. And then there's a 5th card, which wasn't flipped. What are we going to get here? Are we going to get AEW? Are we going to get a WWE? Are we going to get a TNA? Who fucking knows at this point. But it's a very interesting thing. I'm very looking forward to seeing what that 5th card reveal is. Hopefully they do that at the Korakuen Hall tomorrow. I really do. I'm just very intrigued in that. It was a really nice way to start the show off. And then we had a GHC Women's Championship match. We had Kuriki Amari defending against Takumi Uraha, And my god, this was actually so much. Like, heading in, I'm going to be frank, obviously, I knew Uriah from, obviously, she's part of the Marvelous Joshi promotion. But again, my familiarity with these two was not a lot. You know, they came out, and I've seen kind of clips on X where, you know, you see bits and pieces, but I wasn't overly looking forward to it. I thought, oh, this will be alright. And the crowd were definitely into it. But Iroha just kicked the absolute shit out of Amari. Like, I mean, kicked. Like, as soon as it was all respectful until Araya hits this crazy spin kick into the gut, and you could just hear that the actual. It's not, you know, a slapping of the leg. It's the sound of a boot going into someone's gut. It was absolutely savage. Amari starts like fighting back. Good strike exchange until Raya just forearms the shit out of her with just one savage armbar. Amari with a really nice jackknife cover for two. And then Araya with a swanton off the top for a near fall. And then the Razor's Edge gets the win. So we have a new GHC Women's Champion. She looked really strong. I really enjoyed this again. You might be like myself. I haven't watched Noah for a while. You might never have watched Noah before. This was like, wow, what a great match to kind of reintroduce yourself into it. It's so different. It's not what I've been used to in the past. But I really did enjoy this, and I'm gonna be honest. If that's the caliber of quality that these Joshi promotions are kicking out there, and you know, Noah isn't exactly synonymous with known for having an incredible women's division. You know, these Marigold shows, maybe I need to start checking out the big main events, the big matches, and covering them, because this was good fun. She also said in the backstage interview, because now she's the Marvelous champ, an RCW women's champ, and the tag champ with Sari, and now she's the GHC women's champion. She wants to take that belt up to a world class level. I wonder if she'll be defending that belt at WrestleMagic. And then we had Hikaru Sato and Oka Sasaki taking on Keito Kiyomiya and Naoya Nomura. Now this was a blast from the past when I turned this one on. I haven't seen Sato and Nomura since the All Japan days, and it made me upset because, well, not upset, it made me reflect. I remember, you know, 4, 5, we'll probably go 6, 7 years ago, kind of 2019, 2018, 2020, especially before COVID. You know, me, Dion, Patrick, Jana, we all used to come on this show, and it was actually on the old channel before it got shut down because, believe it or not, New Japan copyrighted us 3 times. It was absolutely insane, and what's really frustrating is we actually got to, like, you know, over 1,000 subscribers. We're doing well, and then it cut. And it just deflated all momentum, so you're kind of scared. Every time a thumbnail gets uploaded, you get a bit scared. But they do copyright checks when you upload now, so touch wood that never happens again. But yeah, that was fucking heartbreaking. Anyway, the actual point of the story. You know, when Sato came out and Nomura, we used to, me, Patrick, Dion especially, doing the All Japan reviews. Because All Japan back then was sick, man. It was absolutely sick. I remember one night, I live in the UK, so I remember one night it was the Hell in a Cell pay-per-view. I think it was Kevin Owens versus Shane McMahon, and that finished at 4 a.m. in the morning UK time. I remember I did a review of that, and then the All Japan show started at 6 a.m. So I then watched the All Japan show and did a review of it with Patrick. We're both on like fuck all sleep. Absolutely insane. Great times. Really, really, really was. Couldn't do that now. Unfortunately, unless it wants to pay me a full-time job and a well-paying one, it's just not gonna happen. So instead, you got to kind of find your moments. That's one thing about you appreciate when you get older these times, so you can kind of look back and reflect. Anyway, so it was just really cool. They both still wrestle for All Japan quite frequently. but both are freelancers. But man, we would have seen these two battle in, the Junior Battle of Glory back in the day, and it, seeing this All Japan stuff, it makes me go, what the fuck's going on with All Japan? I know Dion covers when any big time championship match happens, or for example, we covered the final of the Champions Carnival. Man, I just I don't know what's happened to them. I need to kind of watch. I do need to watch to kind of maybe see what actually is going on over there. Maybe that's what I'll do. Maybe that could be something I look into, is doing an All Japan show. But I don't want to give myself too much to do. But like I said, I really do want to cover loads, but not only cover the important stuff. I'm not saying that the tags beforehand aren't important, but sometimes they're just kind of there. Anyway, so we have this one here. Sasaki is one half of the GHC Tag Team Champions with Keno, and they'll be defending against Manabu Soya and Daiki on the 3rd, which is tomorrow. If Soya's going to be in any capacity to compete after the brutal match he had with Ishikawa on the show. But this one started off with some good slow pace stuff with Nomura and Sato, as you'd expect. Later on in the match, they did start kicking the shit out of each other. I've forgotten how amazing Nomura's spear is. He then got the hot tag to Kiyomiya, who's basically Noah's Kazuchika Okada. Man, I wish those two had a 45 minutes one-on-one match anyway. Sato with an armbar to Kiyomiya. Nomura broke that up by slamming Sasaki onto Sato, which I thought was really cool. Kiyomiya then went for the Shining Wizard, and in mid-air Sato turned it into a ankle lock, which I thought was really nice, and then Kiyomiya with a Boston Crab to get the win. This was a fun tag, man. There was nothing you must see. I'm not saying that you have to watch this or go out of your way to watch it, but if you've got a spare hour, you may as well chuck this match in with the two championship matches, because it did no harm. It was fun. It was fun seeing these guys again. And then we had the GCW, fuck me, the GHC Hardcore Championship on the line, as we had Shuji Ishikawa, another blast from the past, is defending excuse me, the championship against Manabu Soya. Man, Ishikawa, 49 years of age, still a freelance. This year he's done Big Japan, DDT, Noah and Dragon Gate. The guy's a king. And loads of others as well. The guy's a savage. And this one's started off two big beefy bastards trying to shoulder barge each other. It was absolutely crazy. And then the hardcore stuff got hardcore. And that's one thing, especially with Noah now being under the same umbrella with Cyber Fight with DDT. They've a lot more weapons, a lot more gimmicky like this, which I think is fine. Maybe if you're a long-term fan of Noah, you're kind of like, what the fuck is that? Why isn't that a one-on-one? I also want to say I don't like the fact there was no green on the canvas. Irked me a lot. Maybe it's just that because it's maybe a different size ring, so they avoid that. Who knows in Shinkiba. But yeah, I hate the fact there's no green on the ring. It's just not right. Ishikawa puts a trash can on Sawyer's head and he starts smashing it with a kendo stick. Sawyer back body drops Ishikawa on the outside onto 3 chairs. Ishikawa then hits a German on the floor onto 3 chairs. They brawl all around Shinkiba. Strike exchange, the chops were just nasty. And imagine being in that crowd. And Shinkiba is such a small building. It really is. It's so intimate. Everyone's on top of each other. They're basically on top of the ring. Must be an amazing view there. I'd love to go to Japan, man. The problem is I'd want to go, and I'd only want to watch wrestling all day long. I'd want maybe a day to explore, but I would just want to be boom, 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 Shinkiba, Kurokono. Just back and forth. It would be, if anyone wants to, no. I was about to say, I don't like the idea of going to Japan with people I don't particularly know. No offense, guys, I'm sure you're lovely. Then there was the Ishikawa drive off the apron through the table on the floor, which is crazy. Sawyer keeps kicking out of these running knees and backdrops. There's a superplex through the table. Ishikawa then hits 2 unprotected chair shots, and every time he hits them, he's breaking the chairs over his head. And then all of a sudden, he goes for a 3rd one, and he gets fucking nailed with a forearm. Ishikawa then hits an arm-hooked Olympic slam to get the win. Really fun hardcore match. really enjoyed it. Much better than I anticipated, to be honest. When it came to, obviously Ishikawa's a legend of deathmatch. It's not. I'm not saying that, but I'm just saying it's nowhere I wasn't expecting it to be as hardcore. So I'm glad it is. But let's give a quick preview. A free of charge preview for the Korakuen Hall show tomorrow, which will be called Star Navigation. June the 3rd at the beautiful Korakuen Hall. There is still some seats left. There's only A and B seats if you're in Japan and you're wanting to go, currently as of this recording, but we'll break down the card for you now. So, 6-man tag, we had Masa Kitamiya, Amakusa and Shohei Taniguchi, yay, versus Black Menzo Ri, never lost from the past, Shuji Kundo and Aita. That's actually quite fun. Then we have another 6-man tag. We have Saxon Huxley, Hayata, and Yoto Kikuchi taking on Super Crazy, Daiki, Udashama, and Kenta. And then we have a 6-man 3-way match. So we have Marufuji, Dragon's Bane, and Alpha Wolf taking on Kaito Kiyomiya, Alejandro, and Kai Fujimura versus Daga, Tadasuki, and Awada-san. I've never heard of Awada-san. That's crazy, I've never seen it for my first time. Then we have the Atsushi Kotaji's 20th anniversary singles match. We have Kotaji taking on Spell Define. Yeah, I don't know why that match is taking place. I'm sure it'll be fun. But the matches that I will be watching, there will be 3 that I'll be watching, and that is firstly the GHC Tag Team Championship will be on the line. We have Keno taking on Keno and Oka Sasaki teaming up to defend the GHC Tag Team Championships against Hiroki Inaba and Manabu Soya, who we've just seen, so he's a crazy motherfucker. And then we have Yohei taking on Junta Miyawaki. So Yohei nominated Miyawaki as his challenger because Yohei has had bitter experiences with Miyawaki in the past in tournaments, league matches, and tag championship matches. So now that Miyawaki has lost his tag titles, this is a golden chance and a battle of the wills between the two. There you go, there's a little briefing. And then the main event we have a GHC Heavyweight Championship triple threat match. Absolutely crazy. We have Ozawa defending against Tetsuya Endo and Takashi Sugura. Be cool to see that. That'll be a really fun match. I generally think that'll be a really good show. I'm looking forward to seeing that. But yeah, there's so much kind of going on. I believe they also announced some matches for the Edion Arena Osaka show. We have Keno and Kento Kiyomiya taking on Marufuji and Kenta in a Dream Tag Team match. It's a 25th anniversary of Pro Wrestling Noah show. So presumably, it's again so much coming up. You've got this Korakuen Hall show, you got the 25th anniversary show, and then also you got Wrestling Magic coming up, featuring pretty much everyone under the Wrestle Universe umbrella with with New Japan and Dragon Gate. So lots coming up for Noah. Apologies, I'm not the most knowledgeable at the moment of Noah, but I still want to give coverage because hopefully you're listening and you don't know as much either. And then if you do know a lot, please let us know in the comments. Any specific matches to go back and watch. Loads of stuff. And I only used Noah's website. If you're English speaking, their website's actually really good for news and stuff like that, so definitely worth checking that website out. I watched the show on Wrestle Universe, no affiliation at all, just as how I watched it, and it should be promoted. So that in mind, guys, like, comment, subscribe. This has been LK. I'll be catching your asses down the line.